If you take stock of your life, and if you were told that today is your last day to live, today is your last day, and you have to take stock, are you ready to meet your Lord? Are you ready to meet him? And if we look at scripture talking about each one of us shall give an account, the account here has nothing to do with salvation. It has to do with the things that we did after we got saved. How we lived our lives, how we spent the time given to us, the resources, the talents, the giftings that each one of us had while alive. And if we take stock and you realize that you spend more time and spend the gift, the talents, the resources, the opportunities, and the time given you, that you spend more of that on yourself or on your children and your loved ones, as long as eternity is concerned, you are a disappointment and you have failed. And you corrupted the time and the gifts. You know what corruption is? It's simply using what is given to you for the benefit of others and a purpose on yourself. You use it on something different than the reason and purpose for which it was given unto. It's corruption. And there's a lot of that in the church. And the root of corruption and the womb and the mother of corruption is selfishness. If you love your children more than God, you've missed it. It's a very, very scary thing. I said it at the first service, that Eli loved his children more than God. He loved his kids more than God and loved his kids more than the work of God. And God said, I will kill your kids and I will kill you. A lot of preachers don't say it like I'm saying it. But you know something, after preaching for 40 years, I don't have any apology in saying the things that needs to be said. I'm just going to say it as it is. That if you love your kids than God and his work, you are divinely disappointed, divinely disapproved, and you fall short of the demands of God. I'm just telling you. And that's why God came to Abraham in Genesis 22 and said, Abraham. And he said, my Lord. And he said, give me your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love. I want him. And God said, I'm going to be doing something for you, Abraham. But before I do it, I want to see where your priority and your love lies. I want to see whether you love your son than me. Prove to me. And Abraham took his son. He didn't even consult the wife. And laid him on the altar, and God gave him 3 days to rethink the decision. And that is the problem in the church. When people make vows, God will give you opportunity to rethink it. And most times the enemy will attack your love for God, your faith in God. He will attack your giving by creating crisis for you financially, to see whether you will be consistent in your love for God and in your commitment, in your tithing, in your giving, in your first fruit, in your vows. And most times when Christians are tempted or tested, when it comes to our love for God and our faith in God, in trying and difficult times, the first thing we do is to avoid and put our love for God, obedience, our giving, first fruit, tithe and everything on hold. And we honor everything else and put God at the background. And we say God is merciful and God understands. You have failed the test. And we pay attention to every other thing. We hold back our tithes, corporate tithing and personal tithe. We hold it back. And we give excuses and justify why we shouldn't be obedient and we shouldn't be consistent because the going is tough, things are difficult, and therefore God goes to the background and every other thing is priority, but God is at the background. You fail the test. God said, Abraham, I want you to prove to me that I can trust you and that you love me than what I do for you. I don't want you to love me because of what I do for you. I want your love for me to be unconditional. I want you to love me for who I am, not for what I do for you. I don't want you to love what I give you. I want you to love me as the giver and not my gifts. I want you to love the healer and not the healing. I want you to love the creator and not the creation. I want you to love the provider and not the provision. For whatever reason, we missed it. And Job said, though he slays me, yet I will be consistent in my faith, love, and trust in God. And most times we fail as Christians when we go through difficult times. God is always secondary. We pay attention to everything but God. And sometimes too, when we get blessed, I'll show you scriptures. When we get blessed and we are doing well, we become so busy that God becomes secondary. We have time for everything but God, no time for church. We become masters of our own. We become our own pastors and our own bishops. Very, very important because we are busy. What is it about us Christians? We compromise our time for God. Some of us will even do business Sunday morning, church time. We'll go to the airport to meet a business partner Sunday morning when it's time for church. And you can't tell that business partner that, you know something, I'll be in church on Sunday morning, so someone will pick you up and I'll see you after service for lunch or dinner. They go to the airport to pick a business partner at the expense of their time with God. You are walking on God's earth, which He created.